In 2019, I saw an object fly silently past my Toronto apartment window. It had no wings, no visible propulsion, and no recognizable flight mechanism. It looked like a glass tube with two ordinary light bulbs attached to it, and somehow it flew perfectly. To explain why this experience mattered so much to me, I need to explain what I had been doing before it appeared. For several months in 2019, I regularly stood on my apartment balcony and attempted to summon what I call orbs of light. I did this nearly every night. I would focus my intention, watch the sky, and attempt to establish some form of contact. During that period, I repeatedly observed unusual lights and recorded several of them. Most appeared as individual balls of light. Sometimes several appeared together. What made them interesting was not simply their brightness. It was how they moved and responded within the environment. When I watched closely, their behavior seemed deliberate and intelligently controlled. But I also understood how easily they could be dismissed. A brief light in the night sky could be a plane, a satellite, a drone, or something else entirely. Even though I was deliberately attempting contact, part of me continued to question whether I was misinterpreting ordinary objects. Maybe I was seeing planes and assigning greater significance to them because I was already interested in extraterrestrial contact. That was not my primary belief, but I would be dishonest if I claimed the possibility never entered my mind. Then, one night, I saw something that removed that doubt for me. An object appeared directly outside my window and moved slowly past the building. I immediately reached for my phone. I vividly remember the anxiety in my body as I struggled to unlock it and open the camera. The object was close, but the encounter was unfolding too quickly. Once I realized I would not get a clear photograph in time, I stopped trying. I decided to watch it directly. I ran onto the balcony and looked over the railing. The object continued through the side street, moving smoothly past the surrounding buildings. It did not wobble, accelerate, or visibly fight against gravity. It simply hovered forward along a perfectly controlled path. There was no sound. There was no exhaust. There were no propellers, wings, rotors, or visible engines. It almost looked as though it had been placed on top of reality rather than physically moving through it, like an animation superimposed onto the world. But the strangest part was its appearance. It did not resemble a traditional flying saucer or anything conventionally futuristic. It looked almost absurdly human. The main body appeared to be a single transparent glass tube. Inside it was another glass tube, coiled irregularly through the center. It reminded me of laboratory or chemistry equipment. On top of the main tube were two glass fixtures, one on either side. Each appeared to hold an ordinary light bulb. The bulb on the left was clear or frosted white. The bulb on the right was red. As I remember it, the red bulb was blinking while the white bulb remained off. That was the entire object: a glass tube, an internal coil, and two light bulbs. It looked more like a handmade science fiction prop than an advanced aircraft, and yet it flew with a level of control that I could not reconcile with its design. There was no visible mechanism that could explain how it remained airborne. It moved as though gravity, propulsion, and aerodynamics were irrelevant. That contradiction is what made the experience so powerful. The object looked primitive, familiar, and almost theatrical, but its movement suggested technology far beyond anything I understood. I came away believing that I had been deliberately shown something unmistakable, something intended to eliminate the remaining uncertainty I had about the earlier lights. I cannot provide a photograph of the original event. All I can offer is my recollection and the context in which it occurred. For years, I tried to reconstruct the object by combining photographs of glass tubing, light bulbs, coils, and laboratory equipment. I am not an illustrator, so those early attempts were crude collages. More recently, I used artificial intelligence to create a more coherent reconstruction based on those descriptions. The image shown in this video is not an original photograph. It is a visual recreation of what I remember seeing. It is not perfectly exact, but I would estimate that it captures between 95 and 99% of the object's general appearance. The remaining differences are minor details that do not change the central design. I still do not know what the object was. Perhaps its appearance was artificial, a kind of camouflage or deliberately chosen form. Perhaps my interpretation of its materials was incomplete. I would be surprised if genuinely advanced technology were literally constructed from ordinary glass tubing and household light bulbs. But that is what it appeared to be. Sometimes I go long periods without thinking about the encounter. Then I remember it again and find myself shocked that it happened at all. Whatever I witnessed, it remains the strangest object I have ever seen. These experiences eventually led me to write a philosophical testimony on contact, a larger work about orbs of light, unidentified anomalous phenomena, non-human intelligence, testimony, skepticism, consciousness, and the moral meaning of contact. This sighting is only one event within that wider story. The book is available through the link in the description, and if you have ever seen an object resembling this, especially something strangely familiar or human-looking that moved in an impossible way, I would be interested to hear your experience.